Oh bother. One day I noticed that blood was in my stool. I looked down and saw an excess of blood. I also felt incredible pain in my rectum. I kept it to myself for a while, but it became worryingly apparent that I need to go to a doctor. The first doctor I went to prescribed me some hemorrhoid medication and was kind of dismissive. The hemorrhoid medication didn't relieve any of the pain. So I begged them to eventually send me to a specialist. The specialist was fantastic, and he put me on several medications, but he became a bit worried by the fact that the medications had no effect. And so I went to so he sent me to a specialist, a proctologist, a proctal surgery specialist. And his actual title is very long, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but he did something kind of amazing, which is he looked at my test results, he sent me for blood work, and he said, you know what, and I was just sitting in the office with him, he said, you know what, let's just get this dealt with. You know, you probably should just get a colonoscopy, just to check in on things. I said, sure. He said, you know what, you're a young guy, you got a lot to do. Let's just, I'll get you an emergency colonoscopy, just so that you can get it done this week. And I thought, that's incredible, doctor. That's so kind of you for doing that. And he said, here's, you know, just sign this paperwork, sign a bunch of emergency colonoscopy paperwork. And I said, thank you. And so later that week, I drank. I don't know if you ever had a colonoscopy before, but they make you drink a bunch of liquid, you know, which is not honey. It's actually a liquid that's mixed with a diuretic that cleans out your intestines, cleans out your colon, and you have to drink about 4 to 8. I think it's 8 liters of this stuff, and not anything else. You're fasting, plus you're drinking this disgusting liquid all day. And if you even have a little bit of food, like if you have a little bit of milk, for example, you could die actually during a colonoscopy. It's something that they don't tell you, but you have to be absolutely certain that you have not had any food within I think it's 24 hours or 48 hours beforehand, and that you've taken the Colaid or whatever. There's different products, but whatever it is, you completely finish that process. And I did. It was disgusting, but I did it. The person in front of me actually cheated and then admitted to it while they were just about to get prepped for surgery, and so they had to cancel surgery because, as I said, you can die if you eat anything right before surgery. This is an important thing to know. Anyways, so I'm in the middle of the colonoscopy, and I'm lying on my side, and they have a camera right up my butt, right in my colon, looking around, and it's an amazing thing to check it out. They let you look at the screen if you want to look at your insides. And so I'm looking at my insides, and then he goes, oh, you know what? I found something. It's a blockage. Do you consent to emergency surgery right now? And I said, and I was already on painkillers that they give you at that time. And I was like, of course, you know. And then everything goes black, because then they gave me another dose of painkillers. And I woke up later that day, just in the most blissful state of mind you could ever imagine. And I sat there, and I didn't know what was happening, and this guy came, who's a friend of mine, who actually I've driven him for colonoscopies as well. So we call ourselves the Colonoscopy Brothers, because I go pick him up when he has a colonoscopy. He picks me up. It's beautiful. And I was and they said, okay, don't drive. We've had to give you an extra dose of sedatives, so don't drive. Don't operate heavy machinery. Just maybe stay home. But what they should have told me is, don't go to 5-star restaurants for every single meal of the day, and don't spend all of your money, because that's what actually happened. I didn't drive, but I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, let's go to the nicest restaurant for breakfast, and then I'd go to another different restaurant for lunch, and I'd go for a different restaurant for dinner, and I ended up spending $1,000 on food in 3 days. Just because I had no control, and I ended up with zero in my bank account, actually zero, and I don't have overdraft, but that's a whole other story. So anyways, I woke up after 3 days of just completely eating gourmet food, which I don't remember because I was very high on painkillers, so I don't remember what I even ate. I just know it's really expensive, and I asked the doctor, I go, what? I call him up, I said, what happened? And he said, oh, you had colon cancer. You had stage 1 colon cancer. And we removed bits of your colon. We didn't remove any sections, but we removed parts of it. And I was like, that's crazy. And I'm like, when did you realize that I had colon cancer? He said, oh, I knew it before that, but I didn't want to freak you out. So I just told you need to go for a colonoscopy. So that doctor is a real maverick. I love him. He played kind of a crazy prank on me in a way, but it was for the best. I didn't know what was happening, and I have another colonoscopy later this year.